Hi there, social change warriors. Just us. See something, say something. What a long 48 hours it has been. If you are a social change warrior and you believe in justice for all, kindness for all, if you hate hate, it's been a rough 48 hours. So I had an interesting afternoon today. If any of you were around for it, Amber and I spoke with Sean on the Gulf down in Naples, Florida, retired DEA agent out of Massachusetts. And it was enlightening. He had a lot of interesting information to share with us having to do with the Karen Read trial and the murder of John O'Keefe, which is a case that Social Change Warriors has been following and actually has led me to meet some very interesting people this last 6 months. As you all know from following me, if you've been on the channel recently on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Wednesdays is the night that I have dedicated to the angry bitches of the world. And I mean that with love, because there are times when people just really like to bitch about something, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. You cannot walk around being happy all the time. That's not good for you either, because you're suppressing things, because there's plenty of nonsense out there in the world and plenty of ignorant, annoying people that drive us crazy every day. And sometimes we just have to vent about it and bitch about it. So I thought, why not on Wednesday nights? It seemed like a good night, middle of the week. No football for the kid here. Not a lot of basketball going on either in the winter. So Wednesdays is the night. I hope you'll join us. Feel free to DM me on Twitter X any information that you might have on a rant that you would really like me to cover. I'm happy to have you on the platform with me. Feels a little lonely here tonight. I've got Amber K in the chat. I wore her out. I think Sean on the Gulf wore Amber out today, talking about Karen Read, John O'Keefe, Aiden, Turtle Boy News, all the other live streamers, and all of the movement that has happened around this case. That's pretty unprecedented, actually. I think of all the cases I've followed and watched through the years, and cases I watched the detectives at my police department and the other police departments in my county handle, and I've never seen anything quite like this before. The support that has come out for Karen, who people believe was accused of a murder she didn't commit. So if you're interested in that, we'll be chatting about that more on Wednesdays and Thursdays in the future. But tonight, I just wanted to unpack the election a little bit, mostly for my own mental health, to be honest with you. I don't know how many of you are going to join me or who care to talk about politics. Social Change Warriors is bipartisan. We will call out crime in the streets where we see it, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, a Green Party, a Red Party, a Blue Party. We don't care what party you are. If you're committing crime, if you're a dirty cop, if you're a crooked government, and we find you, we run across you, we'll call you out, and we're not afraid to do it. So that's our plan for many Thursdays down the road. But every once in a while, because I like politics and I'm renting this channel from YouTube and from StreamYard, I'm going to talk about it. So you're welcome, or you can leave now if you don't want to hear about my opinion on politics, or you're happy to stay and offer your opinion in the chat. I know that Sean on the Gulf is currently over doing a show with someone from the Karen Read trial, who's been very vocal. Karen Read case, I should say, someone who lives in the Canton area. Kate Peters, she's been very vocal that she believes Karen Read ran over John with her car. And a very large majority of us believe that's not possible because science and physics has told us that it's not. And John's injuries don't align with that. So I give credit to Sean for going on her show, because I don't really think she wants to hear a thing he has to say. I think she just wants to say what she wants to say. And that's that. You're not changing her mind. So, but give him credit for that. So I wore Amber out today. I wore myself out today. So this is just going to be a short show just to give my take on what happened in the election. And I saw this and I thought I liked it. Never in the history of Calm Down has anyone calmed down by being told to calm down. And that is the truth, man. On a lot of cases that I had where I had hysterical victims or hysterical perpetrators, whatever the case may be, and you use the words calm down, that never works and it never happens. So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was pretty interesting. So I am finding out tonight that for whatever reason, StreamYard is having trouble with slide decks. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to figure out if I can even advance this one tonight. It might be stuck where it is right now. So I might just have to abandon it and just chat with you for a little while about my thoughts on the election. And if any of you watch this in replay, feel free to, make your comments, which I'm sure you will. I'm going to try to remove it and see if I can share it again. So stand by just a second because I had a couple slides that I wanted to show you. So give me just a second to work out this tech issue here. That unfortunately StreamYard is normally really great and they allow me to share my Google Docs because everyone that's been watching my show knows I love my Google Docs because they keep me on time. They help me remember what I want to see. And I like visuals. I personally I don't like just watching someone talk at me for an hour or two. I like some visuals tossed in. So I'm hoping I can get this to work for you. Let me try it again. So give me a sec to, I don't have anybody here with me right now. So I'm not going to be able to have anybody else talk while I mess around here with this tech issue, but I'm going to see if I can get this to work. So I had it working today and maybe I can get it to work for you guys. So Amber, I know you're just in the chat, but you can let me know if I don't see you guys anymore when I pull up a screen like this. So I'm going to pop back in and just go to the chat and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Steam is angry today. Yeah, exactly. Amber, just let me know if what I just did where I went back to the actual deck. So I can't move it from here. I can see it from here, but not able to move it. So let me know if you could, Amber, if I am. Oh, great. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to just go back to a different tab now, which will let me run through it. So we're just going to talk a little bit about election results. Please, everyone, remain calm. Let's all count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm mostly saying this for all of my colleagues who work in social work with me. Republicans, I have a lot of friends who vote right and who are conservative. I respect your reasonings, don't always agree with them. I always respect a good debate. Don't like name calling, don't like to be called names. I don't ever call any of my friends who are Republicans names. I try to stick to the facts that as they've been presented to me, whatever I can get from all the media. I never rely on one source. That is not a healthy thing to do. So rely on as many sources as you can. Rely on think tanks because I know I'll make America great again. You're going to come at me and say the think tanks, are slanted or they're not, but that's not true. So please stop sharing disinformation. There are a lot of good think tanks out there that are bipartisan. They don't vote for either party. They just want to help the world be a better place. So if you can, take a drink, get your info from think tanks because they are bipartisan and they will tell you as many of the good facts as they possibly can. Now, I would really love Make America Great Again, folks, to just listen to this. Try to have an open mind if you can. For whatever reason, and I don't understand it completely because I have never had a problem saying, hey, great race. It is what it is. One's going to lose, one's going to win with all of the candidates in my life. I've had minimal amounts of respect for some of the Republicans that ran and massive amounts for others. For instance, John McCain. I thought he was a really good human. I think he really cared about people, cared about his causes. I just didn't always agree with his politics and his policy, but I respected him as a human. I can't say that for Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, Make America Great Again, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you are not bad people, but you have been fooled by the master of all. So I don't know how long it's going to take you to finally figure this out, that Donald Trump does not have a party. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about Democrats, Republicans, green, blue, whatever. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. He has a very scary disorder, and you've all heard about it because they keep blasting the narcissism all over the media and all over social work fields and psychology, psychiatry. but it has been named now a disorder that people have. And you may not realize you have it, because if you're so involved internally with yourself and what makes you happy and what pleases you, you're probably not going to know. Now, some people eventually will listen to their friends and family or their girlfriends or their wives or their husbands, and they'll actually take a look in the mirror and say, oh boy, I think I might have this narcissistic tendency to constantly be about me and myself and my wants and my needs, and not having a lot of empathy for others. I don't think I have empathy. I've actually heard people say that right before going into counseling. What happened to me? Why don't I have empathy? Well, that I am not a psychiatrist and I'm not a psychologist. That's not for me to say, but I've read enough through my master's degree teachings and the things I've learned that Donald Trump exhibits every single symptom of narcissism. So if you don't believe me, you can go look it up. Not everything is fake news. It's something so important that you all need to understand. Not everything is fake news. There are good people out there doing research for you and trying to help you learn and be better. So I'm going to try to play this with what's going on tonight with the darn StreamYard. I can't do my normal deck, so I don't know if it's going to let me, but I really want to. So I'm going to give it a go. Well, I see him, but I don't hear him. That is too bad, because it's very good. I'm looking for something that I can do to bring you the sound, because it's really well done, and I honestly think that you would like it. But unfortunately, due to the tech issues I'm having tonight, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to bring up the sound, so that's too bad. But I will share it with you on my Twitter feed, where you will be able to hear it, and I would appreciate it if you would just take a moment and just try to have an open mind. That's all I'm asking of you to do, is to have an open mind in this election. It's hard to do that sometimes, because we get so focused in on what we believe in and what we believe to be true, and we don't really have the time or want to take the time. It's so much easier just to say, oh, I believe it. If it's on a commercial, it has to be true. They paid for it, right? To be on a commercial, it must be true. Or if he's up there speaking and talking to me from a platform, and he's running for president and she's running for president, they're debating each other, they must be telling us the truth. They can't be lying. That's unfortunately, a lot of voters tend to be naive that way. They want to believe what they want to believe because of some type of policy issue that has tweaked them, that has made them angry or mad. And so whatever the candidate is saying that aligns with that policy that matters to them, that has tweaked them, that's where they're going. And that's that. And they're not going to consider anything else. And unfortunately, a lot of voters will not debate you. They won't try to understand where you're coming from. They will go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, and they'll just defame you and degrade you for having an opinion. This is America. We all get an opinion. We all get to vote. And every 4 years for president, governor, mayor, however often we vote. Some states, I think the length of service is longer than others. But you have this big opportunity in America to have your voice heard, and to vote your conscience. And as long as you do that, then it's all good. But there are going to be times, people, where that particular party that you normally align with is going to bring you a candidate that you may not be so sure about, that you may not feel is who you can put your vote towards. So it doesn't mean you just go and blindly pull that lever because that's your party. There was a lot of country over party this time, more than I've ever seen. And I talked to so many current registered Republicans who are classmates of mine from high school or college or neighbors of mine. We had good, honest, open discussions about how important country over party is. And I'm not lying to you. I will honestly tell you this, that if there's ever a time in my life, I don't have many elections left. I'm 61 years old. But I hope I have quite a few. And if there's ever a candidate presented to me, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I like to debate, I like to listen to their side, but most of the time, my internal social worker, my internal justice for all weighs out over what the Republicans are talking to me about. weighs out over what they're trying to pass as laws. So that's just me. That's who I am. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. I'm just who I am. And my personal psyche, my personal morals, my values, my ethics, everything aligns with policies that have to do with democracy, caring about people regardless of what color they are, what religion they are, what race they are, what language they speak, who they love, how they choose to present themselves. We have to stop being so critical of how others live their lives. That's not our job. It's just not our job. So when you are presented with the candidate, Republicans and independents and some Democrats maybe, like Donald Trump, you have to look into him. You have to listen to him. He's very vocal. He tells you who he is. He means it when he says it too. He likes to boast. He likes to be proudful. He likes to talk about himself, and he loves to put other people down because guess what? That's what narcissists do, okay? You might have lived with one. You might have been married to one. You might have a friend who's one. They're not big on empathy. They're not big on compliments. I would love to know the last time someone who's married to a narcissist, whether they're a female or a male, got a compliment. I would love to know the last time you heard "I'm sorry" out of their mouth, because they don't use those words very often either. All you have to do is go look it up. You don't have to believe me. You can exit this channel right now. I'm just telling you, when your party gives you a candidate that has issues ethically and morally and is pretty morally bankrupt, and I hate to quote Jeffrey Epstein because he is the lowest form of scum on the planet. He touched teenage girls. He had sex with teenage girls. Sorry, YouTube, but he did, and I'm going to say it. And nobody stopped him. He did it for years and years and years. And when it all comes out, because it will someday, I might not be here. I sure hope I am, because I want to see, as Sean on the Gulf says, I want to see all those mofos go to jail. I want to see every single person who's ever laid a hand on a child or forced a child to have sex or think that they convinced a child to have sex so they're okay, go to jail for the rest of their miserable lives. That's what Social Change Warriors wants to see. We want to see every person that's ever committed a crime pay for their crime once we know for sure they did it. We don't want people falsely accused of crimes, and we don't want people who are framed for murder, like Karen Read and many other people. We are about calling out crime, calling out corruption, being a just society. We're asking you to think about who you vote for. Don't just blindly vote because that's how it's always been for you. That's the party you've always been with. If the Democrats present me with anybody even close to the likes of Donald Trump, who has been accused of a pedophile with Jeffrey Epstein, in my mind and in many others, he has touched women inappropriately, many, many women. Only 26 under threats and all kinds of horrific things that have happened to them via email, social media, mail. They were brave enough to still come out. I'm not saying all you other ladies who Donald Trump has touched inappropriately, because we know he has. It's just the numbers, people. You don't have to be an ex-cop. You don't have to be a social worker. You don't have to be a journalist. You can be anything in this world to know that Donald Trump did these things. But for whatever reason, all the voters came out yesterday and ignored all that. They ignored it, and they focused on policy. They focused on immigration. These are all important things. Of course, they focused on the cost of groceries, the cost of eggs, blaming that on the current president, Joe Biden, which is utterly insane. One president cannot affect all of that in 4 years. I'm sorry to tell you. They can do as much good as they can. They can pass as many laws as they can. But you all know that there's a Senate and a Congress, and there's all kinds of hoops that have to be jumped through, and committees that have to be had before any law gets passed. You've got your executive order that's not used that often. So just stop blaming people for things they did not do or didn't have any part of, and stop not blaming people for things they did do and they did have a part of. Figure it all out. That's what we have to do as Americans. We have to figure out who's lying. We have to figure out who's telling us the truth. We have to be careful what we say and do, Sure, but we can have a voice. We can talk. This isn't Russia yet. Hopefully, I'm not going to get shot tomorrow because I'm on this channel asking all of you to stop being so gullible and naive and filling in a circle or making a check mark just because that's what you've always done. Because God forbid that you vote Republican one year instead of Democrat, or Democrat one year instead of Republican. Please do your homework. Read about the candidates, understand what they're bringing you and what they plan to do. I've had 3 shows about Project 2025, trying to educate you, not trying to sway you, not trying to tell you what to do, just giving you the information. I didn't put up the banner tonight, but I will. Hang on, because Social Change Warriors is all about knowledge, power, action, change. We're not about lies and deceit and crime and stealing money from governments right in front of their noses, like what we've got going on right now in Indiana with my guest, Ed Byers, who was on last week and this week. You've got crime in Canton, Massachusetts, Stoughton, Massachusetts, where the police department had to have known. Don't tell me they didn't know that these police officers were grooming girls for pedophile ring and sharing them and having sex with them in squad cars, in their apartments, on their lunch hours. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And we shouldn't let any of this stand anymore. So regardless of who you vote for, just vote your conscience, vote your morality. Find out. Don't just believe that because somebody tells you that they didn't do this. I've had so many people tell me, oh, Donald Trump didn't do that. He just likes to flirt with women. This is locker room talk. That's not true. You know this isn't true. I know deep down in your hearts, you know this isn't true. There is video of him. He in his own words. It's out there for you. All you have to do is find it and stop just trusting mainstream media or whatever media you listen to. And now, Elon Musk made a post today that made a post that indicated that now the Republican Party is in charge of the media. That's insane. No party's in charge of the media. That's crazy. That's like talk from Russia. That's like bot talk. I think 55 or 60 people dropped off my Twitter feed today. They were all bots. That's how much disinformation is going on out there. And that's just tiny little amount compared to all of the bots that would have been out there on Twitter X and following anybody that dare have a brain and dare speak about democracy and justice for all and treating everybody equally and staying out of people's business. Stay out of my body, stay out of my business. I make decisions for my body, for myself. I'm an adult. I'm an adult woman. You do not get to tell me what to do. You do not get to make fun of people because they choose to live their life a different way, because they choose to be a different sexual orientation than you, because they're a different color than you. It's absurd that in this day and age, 2024, we are still dealing with so much racism and homophobic behavior and hatred towards women and slamming women because they dare have a mind and speak and have a voice. And basically, you're a bitch. If you're a woman who's strong and has a powerful job or wants to move up the corporate ladder, you're a bitch. Hence, Wednesday nights. I hope you'll come and join us on Wednesday nights for the Angry Bitch Club. So it's just been a rough 48 hours for a lot of people that are looking for justice for all, that are looking for programs to help people that are disenfranchised, to help the poor, programs that we need, social programs, laws that we need to protect women and domestic violence. We have so much domestic violence in this country right now. You can join me on Wednesdays and I'll tell you about it. It's shocking. It's horrific. And we have to find ways. We have to say something. We have to see something. If we see it, we have to say something. We have to help. We can't just go in our houses at night anymore and just pretend the world doesn't exist because it's too much for us. We're too stressed. We have too much going on. Oh, poor us. Come on, people. This is your community. You have a chance to actually make a difference. You can attend your area meetings. You can attend whatever you call them in your town. Some places call them select board meetings. Some places call them city council meetings, county board meetings. Go to these meetings, have a voice, Let your voice be heard. Speak out. Run for something. Run for school board. Run for alderman or alderwoman. Get involved in your communities. That's what you have to do if you want change, if you want the good people to be in the light and all the criminals and crooks that are out there constantly doing their shenanigans every day. They're never going to go away if you just let them be. They're going to continue to do what they do. Do you think the pedophiles in Stoughton would have stopped? Do you honestly think that if Sandra Birchmore wouldn't have gotten pregnant, Matthew Farrow would have stopped having sex with her? No way. She was of age at that point, sure, but he was manipulating her. He was controlling her. And we don't know how many young girls that this pedophile ring in Stoughton was hurting. We don't know. They haven't come out yet. Many victims are terrified to come out. I hope you understand that. The gravity of what happens to a woman when she is touched without her permission, when she is sexually assaulted. There is no way to explain that. And if you don't understand it, you shouldn't be speaking about it. You shouldn't be saying, I'm going to vote for somebody who most of us truly believe was involved in these types of crimes. That's just the basics, right? There's so many other things going on with the candidacy of Donald Trump, the fact checking, the constant lying. Again, to me, Donald Trump isn't a Republican. You can say he is, you voted for him as one, but he's not. He would have been any party that he thought he could manipulate. If any party that he thought he could run on and win, that's what he would have done, because he's got all these puppets, all these people behind him, and they're all trying to convince you of things that aren't true. And then they do that wonderful thing called gaslighting. Boy, that thing is magical for a lot of people. They can make you believe, they can try to make you believe you said something when you didn't. They can try to make you believe something happened when it didn't. They will take how they really feel and project it on you, and then make it like you're the one saying all this and believing all this, when it's not the case at all. It truly is a form of trying to cause insanity in people, and they will do that. They will manipulate. So again, if you would have brought a candidate forward that people could get behind, who hadn't committed a lot of crimes and touched women inappropriately, probably, as far as we can believe, was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and you know what he did. So they spent a lot of time together on that island, and so did a lot of other people. And again, I don't care what party they are. If they had inappropriate sexual contact with a child, they need to all go to jail. But here's the thing. A lot of the people that went to jail the last time around when Trump was in office, they're getting out of jail now, and he's going to bring them right back into the White House with them again. So we'll see in 4 to 6 years, they'll probably all go marching right back to jail again, because these guys can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. They commit crimes like they take a walk, like they have a cup of coffee in the morning. That's just who they are and what they do. So you're going to have to live with that now if you voted for this presidency, because all of the people that went to jail, and I'm sure many of you will go on Twitter X and all of your social medias and claim that Bannon was framed, and all the other, followers of Trump that were put in jail for so many crimes. I'd have to get out a list. I don't even know them all by heart. Too many to count. You can say that, but we know that's not true. They went to jail because they deserve to go to jail. They're criminals. They're crooks. And they're walking amongst you every day, everywhere. And many of them get away with it. So how long as a nation you want to continue to put up with this, and you don't want to call people out for the crimes they're committing in your local communities, on your county boards, your city boards, your whatever board that they call it, because every city calls it something different. In Canton, it's the select board. I'd never heard of that before. I think in my hometown of Madison, it's the city councils. You have the chance to make a difference when you see something happening and it doesn't feel right. The 1 + 1 = 2 rule. If it doesn't add up to 2, it's not 2. Something's going on, something nefarious. There's crime afoot. And all we can do is band together as community members, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or whatever party you choose to follow. You can put your foot down and say, no more crime. I love my party, but I'm not going to put up with crime in my party anymore. And that goes for everybody all over. So it doesn't look like anybody's coming on with me tonight. Like I said, most of my colleagues, I think I invited like 6 people, are sort of in, as Sarah says on the Karen Reed trial, shock and horror, because I am not ever going to be a liar on this channel. I will never not be transparent. Um, I truly believe that Donald Trump did commit all the crimes that he has been accused of, and plenty that he hasn't even seen a courtroom for. Many of them are past the statute of limitations, like the crimes that happened in Indiana, in Clark County, Indiana. That sheriff is only going to jail for 10 years because he managed to commit all the crimes and had such a big support network of people willing to lie for him and stand for him that he doesn't have to pay for those crimes. He got to spend the money, gets to keep he got to keep the money because he spent it, or he gave it away to his daughters or his wife, or who knows. There's so much into that case that Ed has to share with us that I'm not even aware of, so I'm not going to speak to it too much. But he is going to jail for 10 years. He did take a plea deal, and there was a lot of crime that they uncovered that is beyond the statute of limitations, unfortunately. And if you all want to think that the crime in Clark County, Indiana, and the crime in Massachusetts and Stoughton, Massachusetts, you just want to bury your head in the sand next to that shovel that hasn't reached the bottom yet and believe that that's the only place this is happening, I am so incredibly sorry for you, because social change warriors, we're going to keep calling out the crime when we find it, and we're going to keep bringing these people to our channel. We're going to write letters. We're going to email the governors of those states and the politicians in those states, and if we have to, we'll do standouts, because we're not going to let murder victims not get the justice they deserve. So that's what we're about on Social Change Warriors. We are bipartisan 99% of the time, but once in a while, we'll go a little political because I'm a human and I get to do that. You can disagree with me. I'll disagree with you. We can still be friendly about other things in life, as long as we're willing to listen to each other and maybe for just a second hear where the other one's coming from. I'll talk to you all day long about fiscal spending, about policies that you may feel aren't working correctly. Let's figure out how they can work better. If you feel there's overspending going on with social programs, if you don't like the controls for the environment, you think they're still too strict, well, then let's talk about it. But one side can't have their own way. That is not how it works in America. That's not democracy. One side can't just step in and say, I'm doing everything my way. I'm never coming to the middle. I refuse to compromise. That's not how government works in America. That's how Putin runs his country. That's how Russia works. So if you love that kind of government so much, maybe you should consider moving, because America's never going to concede to that. There are still 1/3 of us out there that voted for democracy. We voted for open and fair government, and we will keep fighting and voting for that. And we will continue to find Republicans and conservatives who want to come to the middle, who want to talk to us, who want to be kind. And I'm not going to try to convince Make America Great Again anymore, because you obviously just don't want to listen. You're just going to stick with your same old song and dance and hold Trump up to this standard that he never deserved. And it'll all come out in history. I'll be gone, I'm sure. And many of people in my age group, as you youngsters out there like to call me the OG, we'll be gone, but it'll come out, because honesty and truth always comes out. Truth always matters. Kindness always matters. And lies will be exposed eventually. There's very, very few lies that stay buried forever. So someday you will all have to face the music if you're still here, and maybe make peace with yourself that you voted for the wrong person, because you had a choice. You didn't have to vote. You could have sat this one out. I have no problem with that, to be honest with you. If there's no candidate there for me that I can go on board with, and I know somebody's going to win, obviously, but it doesn't mean I have to vote for them. I could write someone in, or I could sit it out. So you didn't have to vote for Donald Trump. You chose to vote for Donald Trump. And so you're going to see what's going to happen now. It's all going to unfold, and it will not be pretty for democracy. It'll happen very quickly, as my guess. As soon as he's in there, he'll start doing what he says he's going to do. And all of the people that were in jail that are out now are going to join him in the White House. And it's going to be quite something to see. And it'll be for the history books, absolutely for the history books. So that's all I got. I had a great visit with Sean today with Amber Kay. It was really great to let Sean just talk his talk. And we're still going to hope that Karen Reed will be exonerated, because we do believe, most of us that followed this case, and I think it was 80% of the polls that were taken by the lawyers, that LawTube, that she did not hit John O'Keefe with her car. And I'll continue to support her in any way that I can, and justice for John O'Keefe. And I will continue to support the other victims that I have named on my show since August, and we will continue to hope for justice for them. Some of those cases are still in the middle. Some have no resolution yet. So we'll keep calling out corruption and crime on Thursday nights, and Wednesday nights we'll talk about women's health and women's issues, and continue to try to stay positive. And I'm losing my voice because I've live streamed too long today. So I'm going to call it a night. Thank you to my Amber for always being there for me since we've met. It's been a wonderful ride so far. We're hoping that we will recruit more social change warriors to come out and be part of our cause. And we're a movement. We're not a brand. I'm not a clothing item. I'm not a commercial. I'm just one person in my environment trying to make a difference and trying to recruit more people in their environments to make a difference, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, whatever you want to be, a socialist, if you want to be an independent, if you just don't care anymore about politics and you just want to be a good human and help people in need, we're going to do that. We're going to continue to be there for people and to help people that have been victimized and who are not getting the answers they need from their local police departments and local governments. And that's just what we're going to do. And we'll keep doing it as long as we can. And we hope you'll join us. If you ever have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to DM me on Twitter. I am more than happy to talk with you, debate with you, hash it out. And that's how we live in this society, where we can all get along and be civil to one another. So to all of my friends, this was a rough election. To my colleagues in social work fields, we're going to lose some programs, and we're going to have a struggle with anything to do with domestic violence laws. So we will have to write to our senators and our congressmen, and we may have to protest if we have to. We'll go to Washington and we'll do that. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Probably not tomorrow night. We did a doubleheader tonight. Maybe I have something that might come together. We might be back tomorrow night. I'll let you know on my Twitter X and on Instagram and on Facebook, but we'll for sure be back next week at our regularly scheduled time, Wednesday nights, Angry Bitch Club, and Thursday, Calling Out Corruption. Thank you everyone for listening to me. I hope you take care. Peace to all of you. And remember, it is just us. Take care. See y'all soon.